another one.
So last week I asked you guys to keep a log of your daily activities. What did you find interesting about the results at the end of the week? Were you surprised by anything? Did it help to see things written down and recorded and figuring out how you spend your time? If you're like me, maybe you realized how often you get sidetracked. Most people have to suffer through dozens of interruptions in one day. It's easy to lose your train of thought with phone calls, texts, and notifications beeping in all the time, not to mention those coworkers who just do not seem to understand the value of silence. And then you waste time after these interruptions trying to get back into the headspace you need to be in to accomplish tasks. Many of you have jobs. Now, I don't know anybody who doesn't need or like to make money, but I also don't know anybody lying on their deathbed wishing they had worked more. But you have to work to eat. You have to give up the majority of your day to make a living. Many of you will be going into the workforce and you'll find that a full-time job leaves you precious little time to do much else. Do you have goals? Do you have dreams you want to achieve? Are you trying to work your way up the corporate ladder? Is there anything career-wise you're thinking of doing instead of the one you have? You have to know how to utilize your time to make these things happen. Others will be going off to college. For some of you, it'll be your first time away from home. You'll find that with everything going on, if you don't manage your free time wisely, you won't get things done that you want to do or you need to do. Well, for starters, a lot of us already have the majority of our day planned out. If right now you're working 8 hours a day, that's a third of your day right there. If you're not working, you should have about 3 to 4 hours of schoolwork to do per day right now during quarantine. Then you got sleep, which ideally will take up a third of your day, 8 hours. So depending on your schedule, you have roughly about a third of a 24-hour day that belongs to you. All right, so we sit down with our planners on Sunday night and we're going to map out the upcoming week hour by hour. Now you can go ahead and pencil in the things you know you have to do: sleep, work, school, shower, eat, etc. And once you have the things down that you have to do, then comes the fun part. You get to write down what you want to do. You want to spend 3 hours Tuesday night playing a new video game that you're going to buy that day? Go for it. You want to spend an hour each day FaceTiming your friends you haven't seen because we're all stuck in our houses? Do it. You want to take a nap every day at 2 p.m.? No problem. Just make sure you pencil it all into your schedule. Funny thing about this quarantine, and maybe you guys have noticed this. Um, have you ever thought, if I had more time to do this or do that, I would do it? I just don't have time. Well, for me, it was cleaning my car. My car is not like a trash dumpster or anything, okay, but it could use a cleaning. And then, lo and behold, this whole quarantine thing started, and I had a lot more time available, especially during the time between spring break and when we started online classes. And you want to know a funny thing? After all of this time, my car is still sitting out there just as dirty as it was the day before we left for spring break. Something that people often say is, I don't have time to do something, and it's usually not the case. You have time, it's just not a priority. So if something is a priority to you, you're going to find time to get that done. And that's why I think it's so important that we set our priorities. And this actually leads me to my next point. You need to be realistic when you're making your daily plans, okay? If you know, say you want to try to get in better shape, but you know you're not the kind of person who's going to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and go for a 3-mile run, okay? If you know that's something you're not going to do, then don't do it, okay? Don't set yourself up for failure, and don't kid yourself or pretend that you're going to do something when you're not, because you're just going to feel worse about not using that time the way you ideally wanted to, but realistically don't. Okay. Um, there's a difference between pushing ourselves to get the goals we want, right? Versus just setting yourself up for failure because you're not being realistic about what you can do. Okay. So, example, I would love to play designated hitter for the Texas Rangers. Okay. But I'm not going to write in my schedule that I'm going to train 4 hours a day to become a professional ball player. So number one, I'm 36 years old. Number two, I have a full-time job. Number three, I'm married and I have a 2-year-old. And D, most importantly, I suck at baseball. I can't hit a ball to save my life. Plus, I'm too lazy to train 4 hours a day. I know that about myself. I've just accepted it at this point. I'm not going to train 4 hours a day. I don't understand people who can work out for 8 hours a day every day to get better at a sport or something like that. So, if you know that even if you were given 10 extra hours in a day to do whatever, and even then you're not going to do the thing, then don't write the thing down.
Miller production. Toot that thing up, mommy, make it roll. Once you pop, pop, lock it for me, girl, get low. If your mama gave it to you, baby girl, let